Well, hello again, everyone. That's really nice to see you today. I cannot believe that we've been doing this for what, like 6 months already. So thank you so much for joining us today and just being with us this whole time. I would like to start with just showing you a few slides to introduce us as a company. But before I do that, hi, my name is Victoria. I'm Senior Venture Associate at Go Global World. Yeah, let me tell you a bit more about who we are. Okay, perfect. So yeah, Go Global World is a platform where founders can connect with relevant investors and advisors. So yeah, we make sure that you guys get connected only with relevant people based on your strict criteria, so you don't have to waste your time and actually get to work on your business. One of the coolest things that we have on the platform is a one-pager format of every single profile. So it allows you to put all the information about your company in one place. My favorite part is that you can share the link to your profile with pretty much anybody and they can take a look without having to register. And yeah, we also have our platform pitch for you 24/7. As a founder, you get to upload your elevator pitch video. So that's how you can share your ideas without spending too much time hopping on calls every time. Another important thing that we also do is we help with the super serious but sometimes boring things like incorporation, tax, accounting, etc. And since the tax season in the US is coming very soon, please let us know if you guys need some help and support in that. Our team is awesome. We have a licensed tax advisor who, honestly, I feel like one of the smartest people in the world. So we'd be more than happy to support you with your taxes in 2024 and 2025 and all the years in the future. Okay, as you already noticed, this session is being recorded. Just FYI, our team will post the recording to our YouTube channel, so please feel free to share it with your friends or rewatch it to get some pieces of wisdom from our experts. And I'm super excited to introduce our experts today. I will start with Keith Lamb, advisor at Berkeley Skydeck. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Victoria. Nice to be here. This is great. I guess give me an introduction. I'm Keith Lamb. I'm advisor at Berkeley Skydeck and other things, and I'm also a principal at RebelGTM. We help develop go-to-market strategies and marketing, sales, and customer success processes for startups, in addition to helping startups founders with pitch decks and data rooms and stuff. So glad to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And honestly, I feel like GTM is one of the, biggest problems that I see founders face each time. So this is awesome that you're here with us today. Plus, FYI, dear founders, we have Keith on the platform, so please feel free to connect with him and get some, advice and piece of wisdom. Now, as our other expert today, so the information on the slide is a bit wrong, so please, Haas, tell us more about what you do now.
Hey, Victoria, thanks for having me here. Pleased to meet everyone. The information is not wrong; it's just incomplete. So I'm Haas. I'm a venture partner, as it says, at BU Venture Partners, but I'm also a venture partner at multiple other funds. I work with a lot of different investors and angel investors as well across North America and Europe. From company perspective or industry, we are very agnostic. We like to focus on deep tech, but we're very open to everything, including consumer tech. And I think consumer is kind of making a comeback in terms of the stage, from anywhere from seed stage to the late stage. So very agnostic and looking forward to hear everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great to have you here. And one more person I'd like to introduce in case somebody doesn't know him yet, which I don't know, impossible. Daniil Kislinski, the founder and CEO of Go Global World. He's with us for just a minute, but also could not just ignore that you're here. So thank you for joining us today as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, everyone, first of all, great to have you, especially the judges. It's so honored to have you. And it's been a while we are doing this. Victoria is doing amazing work, so we're excited to that more and more people getting helped, and it's became like a contribution to GGW Sharks, the famous event we have. So make sure that you guys all have complete GGW profiles on Google World platform. This will help you to be more visible to more investors and other advisors, and from that you can match with the relevant people faster. And Victoria is always available to help you with this. We also invest as GGW Ventures, so those who reached our criteria, minimum criteria we expect, we also be interested to look. But moreover, we have the network to help you guys, and so exciting to have you here. Anyway, thank you so much, Victoria.
Thank you. Okay, the boring but super important part, a bit about the rules. So as you guys noticed, everybody who entered the meeting is muted, so please stay muted at all times unless you're an expert or you're the one presenting. Now, as you know, we send the finalized list of participants during the event itself. In order to be picked out, please make sure to raise your hand on Zoom, have your full name and the company name visible so I could see you and who you are. Please have your video on, we'd love to see your faces. And if you are going to use your slides, please make sure to have them ready so you don't waste your time looking for them. Now, please respect each other's time. Each founder has only 3 minutes to pitch. We're gonna set a timer so you will hear a really loud beep when it's time to stop. And then you'll have 5 minutes to receive feedback. FYI, the first people to pitch will be the GGW platform members and then the rest of the founders. And if you do not get to pitch today, which sometimes happens, we only have an hour and a half, please email us or me personally, let us know that you would like to pitch next time, and I'll make sure to add you to the list for the March session, and you will be one of the first participants. Yeah, please feel free to take screenshots, post them online. We'd be more than happy to be tagged. We will definitely like and comment. Yeah, would love to see your posts online. It is everything I wanted to say, and we are ready to start. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. Now, let me just check one more time if we have any more people waiting. I think we're good. Sorry, just a second. Okay, so the first person to pitch today will be Ping He. So please feel free to unmute yourself and let me find you real quick. Okay. Hi, can you hear me? Hi.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you can share your screen.
Disable participant. Oh, it looks like I can't share.
Might be
Oh, now I can. Yeah.
all participants. Yep.
Okay, let me just bring this up.
Okay, and your time.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ping. I'm the co-founder of Stacks. Stacks is the world's first and only AI coding companion for students. It's an AI system that's built on top of Scratch, which is the most popular youth coding platform with over 100 million learners around the world. So our team comes from Google Brain, Roblox, and University of Chicago. I want to show you guys a quick demo that we put together, how Stacks works. So let's just... Now this is really slow. That's very glitchy.
Are we supposed to hear anything?
Yeah, maybe it's not coming through. It's
Please,
really glitchy.
please feel free to just do your pitch without the presentation. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. All right. So, I mean, hopefully you saw a little bit of that. So we publicly launched Stacks 2.5 months ago. We now have over 6,000 users, and we're growing. On the education market, so we signed a partnership in Singapore to get Stacks into public schools. Same in China. We're launching a paid pilot of Stacks across 2,000 students here in the US with a university digital lab, which is funded by the National Science Foundation, where we expect to generate $100,000 in revenue. Other discussions underway are in the US, in the UK, and elsewhere. So our long-term vision is not only to build a learning platform, because as some of you might think that program is on the way out, and it probably is. So our long-term vision is actually to build a full UGC sandbox for kids to learn, build, and publish interactive games as a social creative platform, similar to Roblox and Minecraft. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So who would like to start with the feedback?
I can start. One thing about the demo, make sure that I would use screenshots instead of a live demo because we always have problems with live demos and a lot of the things. First off, I would also you didn't explain much of the need. Like, what is your TAM? What is the need that you're fulfilling that is different than other things? You know, my son uses Scratch and they use it. It's really interesting. Why are you different? And what is the major need that you're fulfilling, and how big that need is one thing that you haven't talked about. I love that you talked about some of your traction. That was awesome. Also, your team. We like to see who your team is. You talked a little bit about their background, but love to see sort of pictures and face of your team. And then also why you need, how much funding and why you need it. I think something that you can add to that pitch. So, Haas, I'll let you go.
Thanks, Keith. I'm gonna double down on the need that Keith mentioned. So I think the one of the biggest things is that this is a very competitive market. I think there's a lot of companies already working with students in high schools and schools from the middle school itself. I've seen at least 4 pitches so far, and a couple of those are actually pretty prominent companies. So what is it that the market is not getting right now, which you can provide? I think that would be the biggest thing because everyone knows and there's lots of companies working on it, but I did not hear what is it that's your USP, especially compared to all the other competitors. I did like the idea that right off the bat you came out and you said we are the coding platform for students and AI platform for kids. So I think that's very clear from the start what exactly you're trying to do. The kids is the market, and you're going with the schools, and you have paid pilot, and I really like that within 2 months you have I think 6,000 users if I remember correctly. And then your target market, UK, US, and I didn't completely understand China if you're already there or if that's the market as well. But I think the biggest thing will be within just 2 minutes is like, what are you fulfilling in the market that is not already there? Because that's the biggest challenge in the venture, because we see some business model comes out and then there's 20 other competitors or companies coming up with the same thing, and it's really difficult to differentiate. So I'll take a pause there.
Yeah, good feedback. So I think I maybe I need to expand on this, but I said first thing, which is we're the first and only. Yes, there's a lot of AI/education products, but when it comes to AI coding for this block coding program, nobody else has done it. So Scratch Foundation, which is run by under MIT, doesn't have one. Microsoft has a big education arm called Make Code, and they don't have one. So we're actually the world's first and only. Yeah.
So
But it
maybe
doesn't address. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say maybe it's my lack of understanding as to how that is different from what other competitors or other players are doing. Because I know there are in the coding space, they are also bringing the AI. So I'm not really sure. But again, within 2 minutes, it's really difficult to probably find out.
Yeah, it's so it's Scratch specific, which is block coding based. Nobody else has done this. So professional developer tools like Cursor, Windsurf, these things, they cover scripting languages. Block coding is different because it's actually, kind of visual blocks, drag and drop. So
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got to pull that out a little more, right? So the differentiation is pulled out because, yeah, I've seen a lot, just like Haas, I've seen a lot of different educational coding stuff, and it's a hard market to break into. So you got to tell me, why are you so different than other people that are out there? Even though you might be the first, when I saw it, I said, well, it looks like something else, right? So you got to sort of pull that out a little more.
Right. Yeah. It's a hard market. Education is not sexy, Investors don't love it. So the need we're fulfilling, I think the biggest pain point is in many classes, so STEM coding is mandatory in many schools across the country and also across the world. The problem at the younger level, which is what Scratch is taught in, so elementary and middle schools, is most teachers are not equipped to teach block coding. They're math teachers, they're physics teachers, but then they don't know coding themselves. And then imagine a class where it's one teacher and 30 students. Students going to have all sorts of problems. As you know, debugging is a big thing in programming, and it's really hard to do on the spot. And then teachers simply overwhelmed. So what we're solving here is we're giving every student a personalized, very powerful coding companion where they can, troubleshoot and debug and be creative. And the teacher becomes it also makes it easy for teachers to teach. So spend more time of teaching computational thinking. So stuff that really matters.
Yeah, time's up. But you know what? Tell that story. Give me a story.
Yeah.
That helps. That helps me think about it a little more, right? So tell that story. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. All right.
The idea.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, the next founder to pitch is George Scritchfield. Hi, George. You are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Here we go. Sorry.
Hi. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can't find my screen. Anyway, my name is George Scritchfield. I'm the founder and CEO of Hygienia UVC. We are UVC Light Hand Sanitizer Company, and we hold 2 patents. UVC Light has a much better germicidal qualities than alcohol-based foams or gels. And the 222 nanometer light is completely non-toxic, as the wave itself is too short to penetrate the skin or the eyes. It's just pure physics, like Newton's law of gravity. I mean, the wave is just too short to penetrate. So the problem with using chemicals is they allow superbugs to become resistant, become non-resistant, or resistant, excuse me. The alcohol-based sanitizers run out frequently and they sit empty, promoting non-use. Nurses in hospitals use alcohol-based sanitizers so frequently that their hands crack and they're laid off by the hospitals until the cracks heal. And this creates kind of a cost analysis in our favor because these nurses are paid quite a bit. When other industries see that hospitals are using us, we feel confident. They'll feel confident that it is safe and effective. And obviously, the market is quite large. Grocery stores, franchise restaurants, casinos, hotels, schools, government buildings, cruise ship, just goes on and on. So we have a huge market to go to. Our team is made up of our primary advisor is Joshua Jacobs, who's an immunologist and allergist, Dr. David Sliney, who's a professor emeritus at Johns Hopkins. He's a medical physicist, optical radiation hazard analyst, and was head of the laser light division for the U.S. Army for 30 years. We have Professor Jeffrey Gronick at the University of Minnesota. We have Professor Charles Gerba at the University of Arizona, Tucson. We have the infectious disease group of doctors of Walnut Creek, which is 10 doctors. And our proof of concept was with Professor Gerba at the University of Arizona. And as any doctor will tell you, C. diff is probably the worst pathogen in a hospital. and they can't kill it with anything. So we took our test sanitizer to University of Arizona, and primarily to test to see if we could kill C. diff. As I mentioned, they can't kill it with anything. We killed it with UVC light, 98.4%, and that's published by University of Arizona. So we're raising $150,000, 25 cents a share to develop our first full design and to produce 20 prototypes.
Your time is up. So if you have one more thing to say, please do so.
I'm finished. That's fine. Thank you.
Perfect. Who would like to start? Keith?
I can.
Yeah, Haas, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I can go. Thanks, George. I think once again, this is one of the examples of an even more competitive market, I would say. And this is a landmine, like anything in the CPG, anything in this kind of a space, and fashion apparel. And there's a lot of sustainability aspect, even on your side. There's lots of companies trying to come up with different things where, pathogens and viruses, and they do not become used to, and they better products are coming into the market. So there's that whole market is definitely there's a need for that. I think what I missed in this was that it took a little bit of time to realize it was more of a B2B model than a B2C, even though it came perfectly clear. I think the challenge in this would be the go-to-market. How do you stand out and building a business? Because the product and the science behind it, I'm not too worried about that. There is a science behind it. But how do you go into the market? What is it that you're providing, and customers are just getting amazingly satisfied, and they're excited to use it? Maybe some testimonials, maybe a couple of short videos of nurses and hospital doctors actually using it, restaurant people, that would help. And then maybe, what also matters in these cases is that the hands, how they feel, or the smell of it. I mean, those things within the lotion and the soap, those things matter too. But I'll take a pause there. And I think that's the biggest challenge as an investor is I haven't seen something unique or new, which, gets you sort of stand apart from everyone else that we have seen in the field. Keith?
Yeah, I love that you talked about your founders. That was great. You had great founders that you talked about that. So it's like, I trust that you have a team that can do this, right? And then you talked about technology a bit. Yeah, as Haas said, to go to market, it's a lot of differentiation you got to sort of talk about, and also talk about why would people want to use you versus other things, right? I can go up there and get some alcohol and then clean my hands, right? You talked a little bit about that. Mm-hmm. You talked about like nurses resource. So it's like, okay, like when you think about benefit, you think about either you're saving them money, making them revenue, saving them time, or saving them resources. Talk about resource. I think you can save them time too. It sounds like there's some time element that you can save them from cleaning that might be different, right? So sort of focus a lot on that. The go-to-market, it's hard. Like you are trying to get into larger enterprises and systems. And you got to sort of say, why are you better, and how are you going to do that? Maybe not in an initial pitch, but as you go along, says, this is how I'm going to get in, right? Because you're a startup, they're not going to trust you. I must say, a big company's not going to trust you. So how do you sort of weave your way in? Got to think about that, right? And you talked a little bit about traction, and sort of focus on why the need it, and sort of talk about how you're going to get there. Right. And I also love that you talked about how much you need and what you can use it for. That's great. Thanks, George.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very good input. Appreciate it.
Perfect.
I think maybe I can add just one more point on that, George, is within this market, I think to grow the business, you may end up needing a lot of capital because it's a very capital intensive industry and business. So somehow target, your responses or your pitch to show the investors that this is what we're looking for, and over the next 3 to 5 years, this is what we would need, and we have a plan. Because otherwise, due to lack of funding, the early investors may not have any return, and the company may fail. So that's going to be a big challenge. Sorry to be direct here, but that's, I think, going to be important.
That's appreciated. We have one of our investors is head of infectious disease control for the board for a hospital, and he's really enjoying the product, and we will produce 10 sanitizers to test it in a hospital first. Upon their acceptance, we'll go to 20 and then hopefully get an order from that. And I think once we're testing in a hospital, we can approach more money. You know, once you have acceptance from a hospital, it's like you're moving down the road, and I think the money will be more available at that point.
No,
Do you mean by-
Let me talk about that a little bit more, actually. Sorry, Haas.
I was just trying to clarify, by 20 and 10, do you mean 20 and 10 gallons or bottles or different
Oh, I'm
kinds
sorry.
of?
Actual sanitizers. I had pictures of them, but I lost my slide. But yeah, we have a design all done of what the sanitizers will look like, and we'll place those in hospitals. And each hospital gets 70. So by the time we hit 80 hospitals, we're doing about 100 million in revenue. And they really are a much better alternative. I mean, they kill more pathogens, and they're a lot less expensive as you get 4 million doses out of each sanitizer versus 5,000 out of the regular alcohol users. So
Thank you,
I think
George.
the testing, once we get in a hospital, I think we can go to bigger money.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to stop you here. It's past time, so thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, George.
we'll move on. Thank you. Okay, the next founder, I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. Is it Shantanu? Hi, please unmute yourself. You're muted still. Hi.
Yes, Shantanu here. Yeah. Thank you, Victoria.
Absolutely.
I'll share the screen.
Mhm.
So let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. So I have a cybersecurity startup which provides unique solution, patent pending solution to data and identity security. And if we look at the space, then on the average, enterprises actually can detect only 42% of the breaches, data breaches happening today. And they take about 194 days, more than 6 months, to confirm those breaches so that they can recover from it. And the cost per breach is around $6 million. However, our patent pending solution is solving that problem to a great extent. We can not only block 96% of the attacks, we can also detect them within first 3 days of the attack, and we can save up to 3 or rather 50% of the cost, 3 millions. In terms of the product, what we do is when a requester actually requests for a piece of data, then we have 3 different ways of checking. We check not only the user account for the data access, we also do device authentication, which is much more accurate than just checking the IP or MAC address, because IP and MAC address can be easily spoofed. And we also do a check of the instance of the software being used to access the data. And if it all works out fine, only then we allow the access. Otherwise, we deny the access. And in terms of the unique features we have, it reduces the number of alerts that the SOC team or the operations team actually looks at. So they can very easily identify the attacks happening, and they can stop that. So our market opportunity is around 29 billion USD per annum. Our SAM and SOM are 4.1 billion and 569 million. SOM is actually the first 5 to 7 years of revenue, cumulative revenue, and SAM is actually the total revenue among our ICPs. That is possible. And
Please make
So
sure.
we have a B2B model, and we will become profitable in 2026. And we are focusing on English-speaking countries and India. And we have a good competitive landscape, and we are asking for 1.5 million USD. And we've got very experienced advisory board along with myself as the CEO and CTO. And that's it I have.
Thank you. Who would like to start?
I can start. Shantani, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. That was actually put together very well. I think you hit a lot of the points. Great talking about the problem and some of the benefits of your solution, and you got a little into the solution itself, which is good. It's I think you went by it really quickly, but the differentiation. This is such a big, crowded space, right? Everyone says I have the solution to solve everything. I just need to know why you're different, right? I think on your pitches, tell me why you're different is almost more important than sort of the problem and the solution, because we know there's a problem, right? It's just like, why are you different? Why are you different than everyone else out there and everyone else trying to pitch, right? If you have any traction to show that works somewhere, that'll be good to show. And then your founder slide is good. You talked about that. You sort of think about the SAM, TAM, and SOM. It still looks a little big, and how are you going to enter it? How can you compete? And like saying that anyone who's in the English world do this is kind of big. So it's like, how are you going to get in first, right? What is your go-to-market initially, like a pilot, and then how are you going to build from there? That's what I was saying. Awesome.
Yep. So do you want me to answer your questions, or should we wait till Haas has his comments?
Maybe I can add some comments because I'm going to add on a lot of the things that Keith mentioned. Like Keith mentioned, right? Cybersecurity, that's one of the biggest challenges right now. It's only going to grow. That is one market which is not going to come down. The more technology comes up, the more it's going to be there, and more new products and autonomous cars and everything will require security, robotics and whatnot. So the physical layer behind that, there has to be a security. I think, Keith mentioned on why are you different? So that's already covered. I think the biggest challenge for me in this one is also the go-to-market again, because getting into these large enterprises is a big challenge, especially getting into larger companies. How and who are you going to sell to? Are you selling to the mid-level managers and sort of maybe even slightly directors, or are you going all the way up to the CTOs or probably senior executives in the company? Who's your target market, and what's your go-to-market approach to get to them? Because it's really difficult. And then they will obviously, you have to have a plan, and I'm sure you have, but maybe if you can touch on that, like we are going to give pilot, for a few months maybe, or it's going to be always a paid pilot, because that again can change the trajectory. If you offer for free, a lot of companies will jump on, but then you'll need a lot more capital as well. And biggest will be moat. Obviously what's unique, but how do you translate that into the moat in the long run, and what's happening in the market on a larger landscape that you can see, that investors haven't seen, that other competitors haven't seen? If you could touch on that, bring something, that would be really high selling point. So I'll take a pause there.
Yeah, thank you very much for your comments. Very valid points. In terms of what is unique in our solution, what we recognize is operating system of a computer or of a device is something which is fundamental unit of compute. And most of the solutions that work, they don't strengthen the operating system, because there are many loopholes in the operating system itself, which is why the attacks are successful, which is why you can do zero-day attacks and other such kind of attacks. So that is what we are addressing. We are actually strengthening the operating system itself, and we've got about 3 patent pending technologies in that space already. And there might be a few more that will come our way, and that is the unique selling point in that sense. And in terms of the traction that we've got, we already have 7 letters of intent from enterprises. We do actually focus on enterprises, and we've got letters of intent from 7, of which 3 are potential customers and 4 are channel partners. And even though we are looking at the English world, and you said that that is very broad, but we are not going after every enterprise in this market. We are actually looking for ICPs, which is the financial services industry, and are having more than 50 million plus of revenue, because that way we can actually demonstrate the value of our solution to the enterprises, even though we might not go to the enterprise as a whole right from the beginning. So it's not a big bang approach. We can start with one business unit or a couple of business units and then grow within that enterprise. But that's the kind of approach we have. We are also, in addition to these 7 enterprises, talking to some large corporations like Microsoft and Google, and very senior executives in those spaces. And our solution works seamlessly with Microsoft. The integration with Microsoft is developed just to make sure that we don't create a completely new ecosystem. We can do the identity management with Azure Active Directory and on-premise Active Directory, and the ecosystem other than that is the Microsoft Purview, One Data, and Fabric, which are actually very important for AI, data warehouse, and things like that. So that's the data store of the organization suggested by the Microsoft ecosystem. So that's how we work together with
Chantu,
Microsoft.
one thing comment, I think I like what you said. I think as you look at ICP, the more specific you are, the better it will be better. Like I'm looking at financial institutions that are 50 million, that are more like credit unions or other stuff that do not have the resources to upgrade their operating system or strengthen their operating system, right? So they have a higher need than an enterprise that might have resources to do that. So if you say, I'm focused on this, then it's like because of this, and this. They don't have money, they don't have time, they don't have the resources, right? That sounds like a better story to me. That say, okay, I see a bigger need for a pain point for them versus like enterprise that the moat is bigger for these small guys than the smaller moat that you have for the enterprise, because they can almost do it themselves if they want to.
Yeah, just to add
that's a good
on,
point as well,
one of the other advantages.
I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry,
Time is up. The timer just stopped counting for some reason. So if anybody has like a final statement, please go ahead.
Now,
I think integration, how you can save companies, let's say you can do the work in 3 weeks or 5 weeks. I'm actually working on a company. They can do the project in 8 to 12 weeks as opposed to 1 to 2 years that small companies or enterprises take. And so that huge saving on time is really appreciated by the companies.
yes, there is a lot of saving on time, and we also save on security operations center or the monitoring team by actually reducing their anxiety and stress, because they don't get so many of alerts to deal with, because we can fix the issue much earlier. So
Thank you.
the reason we are going for enterprises, just a minute. We are going for enterprises is because they will have more variety of problems which we can solve and we can show the value kind of thing. Not many variety of problems are available with smaller enterprises. So I'll stop it at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next founder is Maxwell. Hi, are you ready?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I start the timer.
Okay. My name is Maxwell Lubale. I'm the founder and CEO of Cliffel Technologies. We started off as a custom software development company, but this last year we've been moving slowly into health tech. And one of the problems that we saw is that in Kenya, and particularly in most countries in Africa, long hospital queues are just an inconvenience. They're health risks, patients wait hours, worsening conditions, spreading diseases, and situations which could be handled in a better way tend to be a more severe case and even cause death. So My Health Global is here to change by bringing telemedicine, home healthcare, and AI-driven diagnostics directly to patients. So what makes us different? So My Health Global provides telemedicine for instant access. That is whereby patients can consult with doctors anytime, anywhere via video calls, avoiding unnecessary hospital visits. We have home healthcare and on-demand lab tests. This will be handled by professionals who collect blood samples and run it through the lab, and test results and medication will be delivered directly to the patient's doorstep. We have emergency alerts and mobile hospitals, and also secure digital health records via blockchain. Why will this work? So this will work because millions struggle with inefficient healthcare access, and we are solving this pain point. Proven model, that is by telemedicine and home healthcare, which has been thriving globally. Strategic partnerships where we collaborate with hospitals, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers for seamless service delivery. And also, it is a scalable business model from subscriptions to one-time payments. Our revenue model ensures sustainability and growth. Our target market, that is infants and mothers, travelers, and also patients with chronic illnesses. And we are asking for $2 million to build our application by completing with its MVP, that is telemedicine, AI, blockchain, health records, home healthcare logistics, those are test kits, professional dispatch, strategic partnerships, that is by forming partnerships with medical providers and pharmacies, with over 1 million potential users in our initial market and fast-growing health tech industry. Investing in My Health Global means backing up the future of healthcare, efficient, accessible, and profitable. Kindly join us in reshaping healthcare access. The time is now. Thank you.
Thank you. That was perfect timing. Awesome. So starting the timer for feedback.
Yeah, thanks, Maxwell. I think that was a very good pitch, by the way. You covered a lot of things, and you hit on the right on the nail. A lot of the key important topics were covered. I think you started with a story as well. Although I would love to know more how you transitioned from sort of the software developer to health tech. Although you gave the story that you in the queues and wait for hours, if there's a little bit more data on that the total amount of wait for every family or any patient is, let's say, 4 hours or 5 hours, or maybe it's actually 7 days or 8 days, then it gives a context into how severe the problem is. The other thing would be, I think I got the answer towards the end, but is it more B2C or B2B product? Sounds like it's B2C, or maybe your target market is that, but you're actually making partnerships with different hospitals, and once again, go to market. How are you going to do that? How are you going to market yourself? Because a lot of it will depend on marketing yourself. And are you the first company, or there's some other competitors? If you have any first mover advantages, which eventually will go away pretty quickly, nonetheless, if you can create the lead, any touch points on that would be helpful as well. So overall, I think just 3 main things from my side. One is more weightage on data, just to show how severe the problem is. What's your GTM? Is it more B2B, B2C? And secondly, how you create the competitive landscape, because we do not know what's exactly in that market right now.
I think I have wanting to know a little more about the founders. Why did you pivot to health tech? Do you have the experience in there? Do you have the networks? It's important because you're looking at labs, pharmaceuticals, hospitals, doctors. There's a lot of parts of the network, and how are you going to go to market, and how are you going to get to all those networks and get deep partnerships with them? Right. That's the first thing I thought about. And also, what is your sort of area or not vertical, but sort of region? Are you looking at Kenya only? Are you looking at certain other areas? You talked about for travelers, and I think I missed some other personas that you're gonna target for this app. But like, where are you? You can't start the whole world, so where are you gonna start? Where are you gonna make sure you have traction, build out, and then you may expand? Which I was thinking of. That's just how are you gonna build it out, right? I see the problem, I see the solution. It was a great pitch, by the way, right on target with all the stuff. Talk a little bit more on the founders, why only your team can do this, right? Will be good too.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other comments? Or are we good here? Nope. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Maxwell. That was really good pitch. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, the next founder for today is Sunil. Let me find you here real quick. If you have any slides you'd like to share, please feel free to share your screen right away. Just FYI, you're muted.
Thank you, Victoria.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Sunil Ravipati. I used to work at Oracle, building the cybersecurity platform in the cloud, as well as I work for Anthem, one of the largest payer in the country, leading the app security and cybersecurity. And one of the challenges we faced on a regular basis was that a lot of the existing tools we use, like Prisma Cloud and other tools, they generate a lot of noise in identifying the vulnerabilities in the platform, like the software infrastructure. And the challenge is how SecOps teams or the folks looking into this can identify which ones to address first, right? The high priority, and mitigate them and make sure the applications and infrastructure are still available 24/7 to their customers. In this case, in healthcare, it's patients, and also be secure in terms of data security. And you have seen a lot of hacks, which have a lot of hackers have gained access to healthcare data where they had to shut it down, give ransomware. So I left Anthem last 2 years ago, and I joined Department of Homeland Security Startup Studio. Essentially, it's an incubator program where the federal agency identifies problems which are not only in commercial sector but also in federal sector. And we did product market fit, and we launched Yota Secure essentially to provide a real-time AI agentic platform to identify vulnerabilities. And the problem, as I was articulating, there are too many vulnerabilities ranked on a very common mechanism called vulnerability scoring system, CVSS, which is like published vulnerability score. And there is no real-time capability. And of course, with GenAI, now there's a feature to add autonomous capability so that it's less human intervention and more actionable insights. And as you see on the right side, there's a chart where we see that number of vulnerabilities got weaponized, and they have been weaponized as we go into 2024. We went in 2024, now 2025. And this is across the board, attacking all the critical infrastructure at risk. So specifically in healthcare and financial industries, we have seen penalties. A lot of healthcare sectors had to pay a lot of fines. And that's where, sorry, I jumped ahead here. So that's how we proposed a solution and built a solution to bring a co-pilot approach. So it will be easier for SOC teams, DevSecOps to identify vulnerabilities. And this is our solution where we gather data, enrich it, and publish it as a risk model. And some of the use cases are in healthcare, fed tech, and also the market opportunity is huge. We see that it's growing, and it's a tune of $60 billion by 2020 just in healthcare, but also it's going to be non-healthcare as well. And we did our team, myself, and Sunny, who's a U.S. Air Force veteran, and Sudipti, who's leading the marketing sales, are the core team. And we have a team of advisors, Dr. Ken, who's from Good Sam, and Dave Sims, who's a CISO team member, and our partners from FedTech. And also we work with a lot of interns. We have run a great intern program last summer, and we have an intern program this winter, which we have hired students from various universities all throughout the country. And our roadmap has been that we launched the product and we have paying customers, but we haven't raised venture capital yet. That's where I'm focused on this year to raise venture capital.
Sunil, I'm so sorry.
And
Time
we
is
need a
up
lot of
and you're
customer
over
discovery
time.
and feedback. Okay, great. Thank you. Almost done with my slides here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Sunil, yes, I can start. Good traction. I love the traction slide. That's good, and also your founder slides about. And as you talked about finance and healthcare. With all the way the founders look and stuff, I think focusing on healthcare may more the sort of ideal customer profile because you have the networks in there. I think maybe that's where you should sort of focus on and try at least initially before you expand to other things. Um, it's again, this is like we talked before with the other cybersecurity and other things. Is it's a crowded area, right? How you differentiate? Everyone says real time. Everyone says this, right? So maybe explain a little more, but about why you're different again. You took a lot of time explaining your solution. I think you have to sort of cut that down into a very good elevator speech, and then talk about why you're different and how you can move, how you move quicker, or how how your team can do better than other people out there. I think that's the one thing. But yeah, I like the traction that you have, and also that you found a certain fit that fits at least within the healthcare space that you have. So
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Sunil. Thanks for the pitch. Like Keith mentioned, very competitive field, and we just went through another cybersecurity. So I think what's your secret sauce? I think that's going to be the key here, because I mean, if you can within the first couple of seconds to a minute, if you can tackle that as to we have already done our research with other competitive landscape, and this is how we are different. This is our secret sauce that no one else has figured out. That would be helpful. The other thing was more like I understand that you joined the DHS program, and I was wondering if you have any kind of partnership with any defense organization or with other corporations where you're already running programs or pilots or projects, and what you haven't raised any VC capital, but what exactly in terms of revenues, everything, and if you showed that, I've missed it. That I apologize, but I don't think you did. How much have you achieved? So that gives us a little bit of idea on whether it's a 2-year-old or 5-year-old company and how much you have achieved and what's the growth. Even if just 10 seconds on that would be really helpful in completing the picture. And I think the third and the last point I could add is maybe there's no point of adding the information on the internship program. Any company would eventually have that. I didn't think that added any value to your pitch. So those 15 seconds could have been saved somewhere else.
Thank you, Has. Yeah, regarding the revenue, we are up to 20K per year right now, and yeah, we have put in DHS proposal. I mean, not only DHS proposals for grants through SBIR, and also with the partnerships. We are in partnership with SVIP, that's the Silicon Valley Innovation Program from the Department of Homeland Security, as well as we are partners with Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure as well.
Right. No, I mean those kind of partnerships. A lot of they have NVIDIA programs as well, partnerships. I think it's more about like how it adds value to you as a company and how it can sort of translate into more growth. That would be helpful. But once again, thank you. I think we covered a lot of things, so not too many pointers there.
Thank you.
yeah, I think also the funding. What do you want to use? I don't think I missed it. What do you want to use the funding for, and why do you want it versus doing it, bootstrapped, right? That might be another thing we can talk about.
True. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunil. Okay, perfect timing as well. And the next founder is Ron. Okay, found you. I also see that your co-founder is here, so please let me know which one of you is going to be pitching. You're muted, Ron. Okay, please unmute yourself and go ahead when you're ready. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I think with modern technology, we'd be able to have this by now. All right, I am sharing my document now.
Perfect.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate your help today. Thank you very much. I am not Shelley, our CEO. She unfortunately lost her voice. She's from Philadelphia, so you can understand her weekend. We're here to talk about what these scenarios have in common. And the biggest hint we've got right now is it's going to be a 1.2 projected $1 trillion market within the next 5 years. We are talking about water. I'm with Sustainable H2O Technologies. I'm the business development lead, and we have a cutting-edge water technology for desalination, wastewater, and surface water treatment. What is the problem? Most people would think, unless you're living underneath a big rock, that we don't have enough water. But the reality is there's plenty of water. It's the available water and what we're doing with it, which is just awesomely awful. We are abusing the little we have, and we're all in constant constant clash for what little available water there is. We are the solution. We have a technology that allows us to have significantly higher efficiencies, an equal to or lower overall cost that uses no chemicals in our process, a game changer for the industry, no membranes, and with our all-electric version can be completely carbon net zero. Our overall cost overall is lower, our efficiencies are better, and we are sustainable. The technology behind what we're doing right now has to do with the energy that is naturally occurring in water already. We have the ability to safely harness heat energy from forced imploding bubbles. The scientific term is segmented cavitation. The practical effect is that we get any type of liquid in our system to flash fry itself with its own natural energy. The remainder of the process, and this is one of our units here, has to do with standard distillation. When you try to look at the type of market we're in, and as I mentioned, 1.2 trillion within the next 5 years, we are as close to a recession-proof market as one can imagine. It's difficult to imagine any type of industry that does not rely upon water in some way. And just a couple of weeks ago, we saw one of the newest unicorns in the water world, water as a service with a $1 billion valuation, and that was 2 weeks ago. That is exactly who we are and what we're doing, and we have a significant amount of traction as we're coming into this space. It takes about 10 years to get to market, and with our ability to be able to treat water exceptionally well with higher efficiencies than best practices, and having had the opportunity to test for some of the world's largest users, we're excited to be making a huge splash into this world. We've got a great group of our village between our board of directors, board of advisors, and our top talent that is on board from both business and the water worlds themselves. We're looking for our Series A right now, $6 million with a $30 million post valuation. And we're already excited that we've got our first order for recurring revenue, which we deliver in Q2 with one of the world's largest consumer products company. With that, I am very, very much looking forward to comments, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate the pitch. I think I got the idea on the company and what you're exactly trying to do. A couple of pointers, and then maybe I'll love to discuss a few things. I think the biggest challenge would be in this kind of a market or industry or company is technology is not a problem. I think we have had that technology on the lab level for decades now. It's how you translate that into a sustainable business model. That's the biggest challenge. What have you figured out in terms of your go-to-market approach that no one else has been able to do it so far? And again, I touched on, briefly at the start of the call with other companies, or one other company, that there's, sustainable fashion, there's sustainable diapers, there's a lot of sustainability happening, but they eventually do not go much, and they run into the problem of scaling. So how do you scale to a mass level if you could sort of answer that as part of your pitch itself, that would be helpful. The second is, which one is your key market, or the first market? Is that more like the Middle East, or are you where, there may be a water challenges like the desert area? The other thing would be, maybe I would not spend time at all on the recession proof technology. That slide didn't add any value, at least to me. And maybe more on your traction with the large CPG company, which you touched upon at the very end, but I didn't get a chance to actually understand how deep that relationship is or what the contract is. And also, just as a generic, I think board of advisors, I know as entrepreneurs, as founders, you value that a lot, like you should, but it doesn't add much value in the first pitch. So I wouldn't even spend 5-10 seconds on that. But that's just me. So just as a grain of salt on that, but I'll take a pause there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'll add on some stuff. Yeah, I was one thing is the target market and vertical or region that you're looking for. The more specific you are, the better, because you have CPG companies. Is that your target market, or you're just trying to find that product market fit where you have the most pain points, right? Got to sort of tell me what that is, and then from there you give me your TAM and other stuff for that. You have a big TAM of 1 trillion, but how are you going to attack it? How are you going to eat the elephant, right? What's a small part? How are you going to build it up from there? My background is actually chemical engineering, so this is interesting to me. But and what Haas said about scale up, I've done so many scale ups, right? So it's interesting that that you can build it, and great that you showed a machine. Is it something that also for people don't talk about water unless they need it, right? So where is the place where they need it the most that you can help them, right? That's where I think your target market should be initially as you expand, right? Or is it are you saving the CPG companies a hell lot of money that they can use, right? If that's cool, then focus on that. But tell me, why is this so important for these types of companies and these types of market where they have the most pain point? That's what I think.
I'm super appreciative of both of your comments. When dealing with a 3-minute pitch, you got to cut some stuff out, and it's impossible to touch on everything. So I'm most interested in your comments, and you've given me several already through here on what to spend that time on. And then even more specifically, it's a double-edged sword having a technology that's applicable to just about every industry that exists on the planet, right? So clearly, as I believe you started saying earlier, Haas, I can't remember which one it was, you can't do the whole world at once, right? You can't, and we're not planning. So where we're most advanced right now is probably in something super sexy, which is replacing natural gas-fired steam boilers. And if I didn't put you to sleep already, all right, so that's not nearly as interesting as showing a drought-infected area where we could do inland desalination in the middle of the desert, bring that up and start bringing jobs and agriculture and excitement and self-worth and people back to life. So it's where to focus is often the hardest time. And I guess it can change depending upon who your audience is in that particular area. But that's, I think, where we need the most help in is we're good with the horse blinders, but yes, I know I need to put more specificity into this and why and how, and believe me, we've done it. But how do I get that out in a 3-minute pitch while talking about everything else that we want to hit?
Well, we have been over time already, Ron. I'm sorry, but
let me give him one last thing. I think if you're going to talk about boilers and that helps them the best, if you tell me that boiler market is like 100 million to a billion, we'll be interested, right? I don't care if it's non-sexy.
All right, thank you. Thank you both very much. And Victoria, thank you for putting this together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, the next founder for today is Yamana Rasapa. Oh, okay, you're right here. See ya. Okay.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, good afternoon. Adhyaman Arasappa here. I am the co-founder and CEO of Arvin Solutions. And I'm going to just share my deck real quick. And I'll go real fast as much as I can because it's a 3-minute pitch. Is my screen visible to all? All right. So our mission is to provide a simple and a user-friendly and effective enterprise asset management, in short, EAM solution to the world. Now, the mission statement itself tells about what we are trying to solve. The current EAM solutions we have in the market are not simple, they're not user-friendly, and certainly not effective. So that is the initial punchline I would like to start with. Second is, what is the type of problem we are solving? So we are trying to solve a $20 billion problem in the US alone. And across the globe, it is much, much higher. So we are trying to make a dent in the market by implementing a very effective solution and reducing a steep learning curve of the end user. Because for an EAM system to be successful, the end users must adopt it. Adoption is the biggest challenge in this industry. And as a result of which, 20% of the cost on maintenance goes as a waste. So as I said, like our punchline is more range time and less punch time. People, the end user community are not happy with the current products that are out there in the market, like Maximus and the ERPs and everything. It's not because they are bad products, because they come with a lot of bells and whistles which are not needed, and as a result of which they are struggling to get the internet benefits. The top level organization is confused as to why after plowing tons of money into it, it's not giving the dividends. It's not because of anything else, not a bad product. It's the product itself is too complex for people to absorb. So this is our, the fundamental problem we are trying to solve. And how are we doing it? Our product is basically a extremely user-friendly product, which basically trickles down as to how the return of investment the company is going to achieve. On the left side of things are the elements that adds up, and finally you get a 15% reduction in your maintenance expenditure year on year. So our product will basically assure you of that. Now, in terms of the global market, it's about addressable market of 15 billion US dollars, and SAM is 1.4, and our SOM is around $500 million. And our focus geographies are North America, APAC, and MEA. And at the moment, we are targeting small and medium industries and greenfield, because those are the people who are willing to absorb. The large ones are already saturated, and they feel that they know that they are struggling, but then it'll take time for them to abandon their product and embrace product like ours. So we are targeting a growth of we're going to target a very high rate of growth. We are going to target a $1 million growth in the month of April itself, and we are focusing on 6 million by the end of this year. So we have a paying customer at the moment. We have just begun our journey, and the paying customer has given us a very good testimony that this is the product they've been looking for the last 5 years. So that basically proves the point that our product is extremely user-friendly. Now, we are looking for $1 million funding, 50% of which is going towards the sales and marketing. That's our weak spot, and then to sustain our operations and product development. So we have 3 founders, myself, Adyaman Arasappa, and 2 others. All are Silicon Valley-based engineers, and I'm the only mechanical engineer in the whole thing, and I'm a domain expert with around 27 years of experience, and combinedly we have around 73 years of experience in this market. So we know the industry. We have dealt with all the products which are super complex. We have ourselves implemented and burnt our fingers. Now, our collective learning has resulted in the product what we have made, and that's our offering to this planet Earth. To summarize, RebelGTM aims at improving enterprise productivity through simple asset management solution framework. See, again, the term simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. And we intend to revolutionize EM market through process simplification and enhanced user adoption. In grand scale, EM intends to make facilities across the globe more successful and sustainable, with less number of breakdowns, less explosions, less leakages, less catastrophic situations, less safety incidents, less compliance-related complications. So our product is going to basically make those changes to all the asset-intensive industries across the planet Earth. So that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I had to cut some time just so we don't go over time with the whole event. Okay. Keith, would you like to start?
Sure, I can start.
Start.
Go ahead.
Yeah, fine. Go.
Okay. I'm still kind of unclear on the solution. You said asset management. Is it like capital equipment asset management you're talking about? But you have
Yes.
also supplier chains, and it's okay. So like large physical assets, right? Large capital assets, maintenance, supplies, parts, all that stuff, right? Okay.
That's correct.
Is there a certain industry? I didn't see that those certain industry. I mean, I know it applies to so many different industries. Is there an industry that you guys have a network access to, or that your founders know how to get into? Would like to know that what industry that you're sort of targeting first, and then moving on to other ones, right? You talked about 50% year-on-year savings. How much is that for SME? is it worth it to change out something? Is it worth it to put something in there, right? Some of these questions that I would ask my head right there. I think you talked about the founder team. That was great. And then just want to know, I would say, talk a little more about what industry and the need for that specific industry, and then how much that they're going to save in that, so that it shows. And then all your TAM and stuff should follow on to your SAM should be, SOM should be that industry, and then moving on to other industries. That's what I was thinking. So, Haas?
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Adiyam. I think this one is a tricky one, tricky from the industry perspective as well, especially within the SMEs, the cost savings. It's generally very difficult to squeeze that out of a small company. In large enterprises, the numbers look large, and I think as Keith was mentioning, that 15% saving, is that actually transformative? I'm wondering, and maybe that wasn't clear in the presentation, and if you did, I apologize, but how is that compared to the status quo? Because 15% on the surface doesn't look to be that drastic. So I don't know if the senior management and small SMEs, they're really busy and they do not have the capital to spend on anything else. And, a couple of margins here and a couple of dollars here and there, and their margins can squeeze really bad. So 15%, is that not really that transformative for SMEs, unless you can correct me on the data? The other thing would be, are you, especially with SMEs, because the cost is a major problem, are you a standalone product, or are you actually integrating? There's a chance to integrate your product into some other product that the companies already have, so that you can, one platform but two solutions provided. And also, it's a very fragmented industry, SMEs, especially on the asset heavy side, the manufacturing side. You have like small mom and pop shops. And by mom and pop, I mean like 100 employees, maybe, or 50 employees, and they do a couple million, 10, 15, $20 million business easily, and they could also be your target market. But how do you scale? Because it becomes really difficult to grow within 5 years to the, let's say, 100 or some million in revenue that every venture VC would like to see. And also, is there this is probably just a question, not a comment, but one of the challenges in the asset heavy defense side that companies have been tackling these days is more the counterfeit challenge with those kind of electronic equipment, though. I don't know if that's a challenge or not. Perhaps maybe good to look into that, because there's a whole global supply chain as well behind it. But great presentation, and definitely the team was very helpful. You have a very strong team, mechanical and software, so that combination is really good. So I'll take a pause there.
Oh, thanks a lot, Keith and Haas. In fact, I have answers for all the questions, but then they're all submerged and they are buried in the whole presentation. So I just took the excerpts of it. Maybe I'll just take a minute to answer as much as I could. In terms of the
don't really have time for that.
Then I'll take the thanks a lot.
Yes. But please feel free to exchange information if you'd like to continue the conversation. We have just enough time for one more founder to pitch, and I have Sabi on the list. Let me find you real quick here, and if you're ready to share your screen, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yep, found you. Okay, perfect. And I start the timer. Go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Hey, everybody. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yep, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Here we are changing the way that we are engaging leads and we are engaging customers. The app name is Ahlan VIP. It's some kind of scanning and engaging users. So the idea is, imagine you are walking in a supermarket or on the venue, on the street, and you are pointing your phone on a product label or a store front, and instantly you watch a video for promotion of that product, and then just after a video or an action where you can book a ticket, you can buy the product, or you can choose some variation of that product. So our goal is to change or to bring the informations in the static images that surrounds us and give another dimension to the images by looking their full potentials, and then make the conversion of the leads or the user to take actions. And the app is very simple. Just when you launch the app, it's the camera open right away, and you can point on a dish, a plate, a poster, a flyer, a business card, whatever the publish has put on that campaign, and then when you scan that image, you got a video basically, and then a call to action. The call to action could be a link, a form, a button, or whatever the publish set at the backend or at the portal of the publisher. Then the use cases, as I explained it, it's for marketing, where you are walking on the street, filming the tour, the Eiffel tour or the Big Ben, and you got some promotional around or related to that scene that you are scanning, or maybe you are in a museum and you want to know the storytelling of that image or that paint. And for children, when they are reading the book, they can scan the page, and you can hear or see some either 3D or a video talking about that context and that page. For what makes us unique, it's not just watching the video, but the main power or the main action behind that is the tailored action, the tailored call to action that publisher can set after scanning the image. It could be a shopping cart, as I said, or form, or a product comparator. If you are on a store to choose a jacket or a wear, and you want to compare which one is better, or if there is another related product to what you want to buy, you can see that. Or if in other cases, we can attach a 3D object animation to that image.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. You're very past time, so please get to your final statement so you could wrap up the whole pitch.
Oh, okay. So the project timeline, we already in the beta release, and we have the app running. We are communicating and promoting for the app to the local partners, and we are preparing for the financial. We have estimation for the revenues, and we need to we are communicating to raise 1 million USD for enhance the AI capabilities and run the marketing and expand the development team. That's all. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Only 3 minutes for the feedback. I'm sorry, that was a longer pitch than it was expected. Okay, Haas, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sabi. I think you covered I like the flow of your pitch. You had a good story. It covered a lot of things. So clearly I understood the product, what exactly you're trying to do, the markets and all the things. I think on the sort of more being critical on a few things, I think when you showed the markets, it's challenging because those are completely different markets, very different go-to-market approaches on those. very different understanding of the markets and also the business model and the customers. Once, you're talking about museums, and then you're talking about corporations, and then you're talking about the education and the children's book. Those are very, very different markets, and it's a whole business segment on its own, each one of those. So maybe mentioning that is good. So it gives an idea of the market, but what's your focus? Where are you starting and why? And what have you figured out in that? The second thing was, this is something that QR codes do that. So on CPG products, as well as everything else, you can scan and the videos pop up on your camera and whatnot. So I would love to know how you add value beyond that. The other thing is, like, does the market actually need it? Do people actually need to scan something and find the product usage information, how to use a product? You can spend all the money and corporations can do, but eventually, is it going to add any value or not? That's a bit of a challenge. And the last would be, promoting to partners. You mentioned, once again, how do you market an app? I mean, that's the biggest market today is probably one of the, apps market is one of the biggest. So it's just, I like the story and the flow. It's just a lot of questions have come up which haven't been answered. But I'll take a pause there.
Yeah, Haas, I think you hit on the thing. The first thing I got in my mind is, why is it better than a QR code? Right? That's the thing. So if we're thinking about it, other people will think about it, right? So you got to sort of answer that question, like your differentiation for that. Yeah, the three markets, you've got to try to narrow down on what you want to say. This is the market we're going to, and here's the reason why, and here's why they have the most pain that I can solve, right? The other thing, we want to know more about the founders. I think maybe you need to get to it. That makes sense. Maybe shorter product description. Should I go through that a little quicker? And then also, like, understanding it's a B2B solution. It's not a B2C solution. Like, I think I lost that along the way, but then it's like, okay, we're selling the B2Bs for museums or stuff. Maybe it's not as clear to me. Maybe I missed it. And I must say, the initial, when I saw your title slide, I thought you were like a B2B BDR solution that writes emails and things. So maybe try to change some of your tagline or something, what you do, because I was totally confused when you first started going, like, oh, is there a B2B solution? That's BDR, but it's not. It's something, it's an app and thing. So yeah, talk about a little more about that. And then, again, we always talk about differentiation and why you're different. That's so important nowadays because there's so many things out there. It's like, you got to stand out. You got to have a story. This is the market I'm going to. Here's the problems of that. Like let's say, talk about children's books, right? Here's the problem with children's books. Why we need to fix that. So,
one more thing I can just add. I know we're running short on time, and this is just random idea, easier said than done. And sorry for being critical there, but it seems like a little bit late, a few years late, because a lot of things happen. I mean, there's children's books, there's books where you can actually interact with the characters. There's companies working on those, so it seems like it's a little bit late to the game. Maybe something to explore. If it adds any value, take it with a big grain of salt there. But how can you make your app more interactive for customers to enjoy? Bring out the fun in something that no one has figured out around products, or maybe with the community, like with friends and something, I can share with my friend, and, teenagers can do that and they can have some kind of a fun there, and maybe companies can have some rewards and that can add to some benefits, and influencers somehow feel like using your app actually helps them with something else. So maybe get into the same market, the same technology, but find a different angle into something else. Just a wild idea from outside.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your notes. I will take them in consideration. Maybe the slides, I couldn't put many things on the slides. Maybe I need to focus on one single path, so it could be more consistent.
Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that was really, really close. We have just 1 minute left before the event is over. So thank you so much to the founders, great pitches. And now I would like to give the experts a chance to also share like the last piece of wisdom. And also we would love to hear, who do you think was the most prepared today? I just resend the list of participants, so you have them, you have it in front of you. So yeah, would love to hear your feedback.
I'll start. I think we hit on differentiation a lot, right? Make sure you have good differentiation and make sure you have a differentiation for a target market and that you are going to solve. This is the biggest pain point. You can go wide for the TAM stuff, but you say, I'm going to start here and this is where I'm going to go to. I think that's very important. Founders, a lot of great founder slides. I love it. I think Haas talked about, board direct advisors. I would take that out. But, at this point, if you're doing seed and stuff, the founders and your solution differentiation is so important. Traction is great, but sometimes you might not have it. So that's one of my last feedback. Awesome.
Thank you. And who do you think was the most prepared?
I like sustainable H2O tech.
Okay.
Run with that.
Awesome. Thank you. Haas, what about you?
Thanks, Victoria. Yeah, I think, differentiation, I'm going to add the next stage to that is the scalability, because execution is so difficult. It's massively difficult. And I know sitting here in my chair, it's easier for me to say. It's easier said than done, and how to present and convince someone is really difficult. But the more you can spend time on how you can convince an investor within 2 to 3 minutes how you are going to scale, because that's a really challenging journey, especially when you have extreme competition in pretty much everything. Even if you're working on something deep tech, we didn't have any deep tech companies today. But one of the challenges, let's say in nuclear or any kind of a space tech company, is that most of these companies, 80-90% of the companies don't get to the Series C, Series B or C, and then they just evaporate, they just die, and so investors lose all their money. Scalability and sustaining over a long period of time is a massive challenge, but once again, how do you scale fast? And I think, we talked about the board of directors. One other thing I would mention, just as a generic comment, is LOIs don't mean much. If you look into the battery company and automobile company, every auto company, major player, BMWs of the world, they have LOIs with 150 different battery companies. So they eventually don't go anywhere. So even LOIs don't mean much. It's good to have some, information that we're working with someone, but don't focus too much on that. And same with advisors. Definitely doesn't matter much, especially at the early stage. Team is more important. You and the 2 or 3 guys around you is way more important than all the other parts, which are just, sort of window dressing is good and all, but doesn't mean much. In terms of which company who was the most prepared, I think everyone had their own pros and cons. I wouldn't be able to figure any one single one out. Differentiation would have mattered more, but I think it's sort of like everyone was at the same level. So I'm trying to avoid answering because I just don't know. I can't pick one.
Okay, gotcha. Keith, you want to say something else?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for joining. I guess one last comment for me is that great pitches, but again, other pitch events or investors might not be as patient as we were today. So please make sure to keep an eye on the timer, because sometimes you'll be just cut out, and you don't want to lose the opportunity to provide all the information you want the investors to have. And hey, if you only have 3 minutes to shine, use them wisely. So again, thank you so much to the founders. Thank you so much, Keith and Haas. That was a great pleasure to have you here with us. Sorry we're a little over time, but really, really nice having you today with us. Thank you.
Thank you. It's fun.
Thank you,
Victoria. Nice to meet everyone. Keith, pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. And hope to see you again. Bye. Okay, and dear founders, if you didn't have a chance to pitch today, please shoot me an email. I'll make sure to add you to the list for the next time. And please make sure to provide your name and the name of your company so I could add you